Leaders from both parties in Madison say they want to ease the burden of property taxes, but they're stuck on how exactly to get it done. Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Jessa Brycebeck.
And I'm Natalie Shepard. Perhaps the biggest question right now in Wisconsin government is whether there will be an agreement on property tax relief.
Given what we heard today, it sounds like lawmakers are not close to a deal. AJ Bayatpour talked exclusively to the Senate Majority Leader and is in Madison to explain why.
On the surface, this should be fairly simple. Both Governor Tony Evers and Republicans in control of the legislature say property tax relief is a top priority. However, when it comes to the details of how to make that happen, the talks are stuck in the mud. Just how close are Wisconsin leaders to a property tax relief compromise?
We had a good meeting with the governor's staff yesterday to say, okay, where are there areas of agreement?
Depends on who you ask.
I haven't spoken to either the governor or the speaker recently on where they're at.
Senate Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu and Assembly Speaker Robin Vos are split over what a deal must include. Vos told reporters he's okay with a tax relief plan that does not eliminate Governor Evers' 2023 budget provision that allows school districts to raise their property tax limits every year for 400 years.
I'm open to that. Again, look, I think it's wrong, but if Governor Evers is saying he would rather have the money stay in Madison if we don't repeal the veto, I'm not going to say I agree with leaving it sit here. I want the money to go back to people so they can deal with rising costs.
A short time later, LeMahieu had a very different response. We heard from Speaker Vos earlier this morning. He said that they're willing to sign off on a package this session that does not repeal the 400-year veto. Would you be on board with that?
In order to do anything for school funding or running it through school aids, we're going to need the repeal of the 400-year veto. I made that clear to WisPolitics yesterday, and I stand by it.
The governor's office shared with us an email they sent last week to top aides for Vos and LeMahieu. It proposes a compromise where the state surplus would go toward K-12 schools through both special education reimbursement and general funding boosts. There would also be tax relief through school levy tax credits and exempting taxes on cash tips. LeMahieu is now proposing to not do any of those things and instead send direct rebate checks to people, $1,000 for joint filers, $500 for single filers. It's a sign any substantial property tax relief will not happen until after the November election. At the state capitol in Madison, AJ Bayatpour, CBS 58 News.